If you look on Google or do a search about, what's the major stress for people worldwide, you'll find that something like 80%, 85% of the world's population stress about money. And this is unfortunate, but if you want to believe Google, that's the answer. And why is that? Well, the reason being, of course, is that we, the people on the planet, for the most part, need to have money in order to transact our well-being. You have to buy your food, buy your clothes, buy a shelter of some type, either rent or buy a home or some type of apartment or some place to live. And a lot of people, especially now, are unable to do that in the manner that they would like. In other words, with the inflation being what it is, that something they might have been able to afford on their salary a few years back, they're struggling with doing that now because food costs are up, rents are up, insurance, you name it, across the board. Pretty much everything is costing more, and their salaries are not commensurate with the rise in inflation. So the stress can pull over into fear. I'm afraid of losing my job, so I'm sticking out with this job I hate, or I'm afraid of not getting that bonus, or I'm afraid of starting what I really want to do for a living because it might not work. And this fear pops into it. And fear is a very important topic because when you are in fear, you usually don't use the frontal cortex or the thinking part of your mind as much as you could be. You're more reactive than responsive. If you react to something, it's usually gut level, and sometimes you regret reacting, whereas if you use your mind, you would be able to absorb it, ground yourself, think about it, and then take appropriate response to it. And so the fear is something, if you go really far out on a limb, if you look at sort of what some people would call the woo side of the situation, fear is supposedly or purportedly something that controls the world at large. Now, you don't have to buy into this, and I'm just going to use it as a metaphor. So meaning, you can buy into what I'm saying or not. As a metaphor, if you're in a state of fear, you're going to probably overreact and underrespond, and you're going to put yourself in a state where some people have indicated that this fear is what the opponents feed upon.